Hello, higher educators. This is Kelly Alston, your e learning strategist who is passionate about helping you master the art of teaching online. And I just wanted to come to you to talk about some issues that I had discussed with my students tonight as we had our next to the last class. And so, for my courses, for most of them, for 95% of them, I have live sessions with my class every week. So, once a week, so on Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, I have classes online. We actually meet in the virtual classroom from 6:30 to 8:30. And if we finish before that, then that's what we do. But tonight was their next to the last session, and I wanted to pose some questions to them because in this particular course, everyone in the course was a or is a millennial. So nobody in the course was over the age of 25. And I wanted to talk to them because one of the students in my course had to actually drop another one of my courses because she became overwhelmed with her course load. I believe she said she was taking 5 classes. And then I've noticed over the years, particularly the last 5 years, that our students become extremely overwhelmed and experience anxiety very easily as undergraduates. And I asked them because we talk, I keep it real with them as they did at Winston-Salem State when I was a student in the 90s. And I talked to them about that, how, our professors would get, down and dirty and talk to you like you need to be talked to, like your mama, your daddy, and get you together. But now students are so sensitive and so we talked about their sensitivities, and I asked them, why do they think that they become so easily overwhelmed, or they express that they felt some anxiety, um, you know uh, and that it seems to occur so frequently now with them, and they'll drop a class in a heartbeat, or they'll drop a class after the midterm when it's like you've made it halfway through, the class is not going anywhere, why would you drop the class? And I have a in the courses that I teach, the attrition rate is very, very, very low. So it's not frequent that they drop. But I've noticed that even the ones that stay in courses, that they express the level of overwhelm and anxiety that they have, just being in college and doing life. So I asked them to share. And so I wanted to talk to you about that. I jumped on here. I was like, I gotta, share this because I want to hear your feedback. For those of you who actually teach college students, or you've been in college, or you may be a parent of a millennial, because we need to have this conversation because we need to create some solutions so that we don't continue what's happening with the Generation Zers, which is what my daughter is, that will be coming into, growing up to be adults and having to function in this global marketplace. So, the first thing I wanted to ask you was, how can we help our college students matriculate through college with realistic expectations and coping strategies? Because tonight they shared, several of them shared that they were sheltered growing up, that they were spoiled. This is their words. That when they experience something new, something that's unfamiliar to them, that's out of their comfort zone, that they become overwhelmed, and their immediate reaction is to quit or to do something that makes them feel, more comfortable. And I don't think that's something that, other groups of or other age groups don't do, but they do it to the extreme. And so I asked them, so what do you do when you get to that point? And so one of my students said that, she talks to her parents, and her parents will tell her, anything worth achieving or worth having does not come easy, and that she uses them to motivate her to keep her going. And then another student said that she has this pressure because she's the first person in her class and her family to graduate from college. She will be, and her mom will say, you can do it, keep doing it, you're going to be the first one in our family to graduate from college. So she has that extreme pressure. And she said, but yet, she was very spoiled growing up, and her mom did everything for her to the point where she doesn't even have her driver's license. And so she gets very overwhelmed, even if she implements some of the strategies that I share with them in terms of blocking off time like for their research paper and saying, okay, I'm going to work on this for 45 minutes and then I'll take a break. I'm going to work on this, between 6:30 and 7:30. Or just making sure that they outline and allot time for the various the steps that are necessary to complete an assignment. So she said, even when she does that, or if she makes a to-do list and looks at that list, that seeing all those things that she has to get done makes her feel overwhelmed and makes her feel like I just can't do this. And so I just really enjoy talking to them because I'm trying to figure out how often do we talk to our college students to see what it is they're feeling and what they're going through, because this is a different age. And I told them that I'm in my 40s, so that a lot of their parents are in their 40s, and that we just had a tougher, growing up in the 80s and 90s. We just had a thicker skin. And I explained to them that when I was in graduate school at UNCG, the last week of school, I went 2 days without sleep, taking notos or whatever was out then to stay awake, because I had this professor that kept, I was working on a project with another student, and this professor kept making us do it over, do it over, do it over. We were taking a course. We had to tutor students in what UNCG used to have, I don't know if they still have, called the Reading Clinic. And we had to write these reports for parents, and then we had to write a report, for him. And so he kept making us write it over and revising it and revising it. And so we were coming close to, we got to have these grades in for us to graduate. So I explained to them that even though I cried and I was stressed out, and I never had it was never in my mind to quit and to say, well, I'm not going to do this. I'll just take this over next semester, because I wanted to graduate in May. I had invested my time, my energy. I wasn't going to get to the end and graduate. And I share that example with them because the courses that I teach in the fall are those courses that students take right before they're getting ready to student teach. So they're at the end of their program as well. So why would you drop a course and that's going to push your graduation date out? And at the end of the day, next year is still coming. The course is still going to be here. And what happens is another year comes and you're in the same spot, because instead of you finding something within you to push you to move past that point, you instead retreat and say, I can't do it. And yet your goal is to eventually graduate. So we experience and we see at our institutions where students cannot graduate. It's like graduating in 4 years is like, oh my goodness, it's taking everybody longer and longer to graduate. And so this is a discussion that we really, really need to have. And I talked to them and I said, they also talked about, let me say this, they also talked about advising, and how one of my students said she was a whole year off course because she took courses that she didn't need. And she said, I take responsibility for like not knowing, but I expected to have, my advisors to, kind of guide me in that regard. And so I thought about these things, these components of why students don't experience as much satisfaction in their college journey, or why they may take longer to go through what's designed to be 4 years, or why they have unrealistic expectations of what college is about. And so I talked to them about, gave them lots of analogies, like when you're trying to climb a mountain, at the beginning it's going to be easier than it's going to be when you start getting to the peak. And so mentally going into it, you already know that. So you should expect that when you get to your senior level courses, that they should be harder. And I told them, I said, if you're not crying or stressed out or feeling like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this at the end of a program, whether it's a master's degree, PhD, bachelor's degree, if you don't feel some pull and some tug out of your comfort zone, then that program is doing you a disservice, because a part of your education is not just the academics, but it's also the personal growth and development that has to take place that you're going to apply outside of this classroom. And so, we talked about that and I asked them, what would help them. So I told them that I really want to be instrumental in us coming up with, when students come into our institutions in their freshman year, no matter what their major is, that we need to spend more time. Now, clearly, we need to do this before they get to college, but this is where I work, so this is what I can do, and this is what I want to comment on. But we need to have a course. They take a course called Dimensions of Learning. A lot of times, you have a freshman course that students take at institutions of higher learning, that's about doing resumes and about their careers, a kind of general type of course. And I think we need a course, or to incorporate in that course some mindset activities, some coping strategies, and lay out for them some realistic expectations about what college entails, giving them more guidance on being able to balance their social with their academic, being able to organize themselves and to manage their time. They need help with all of this, and we can't just throw them out into college, get their financial aid, and say, well, I went through it, I did it, you're gonna make it. Just go through it and work through it and you'll be okay. We really need to begin to think about how we can support these students when they enter to serve. Enter to learn. Stealing that from Winston-Salem State. Enter to learn before they can depart to serve. And so that we can decrease these attrition rates at our universities and get our students to graduate on time, but not only graduate on time, to leave our institutions with a skill set that is going to propel them into their careers, or propel them into, if they have to go get further and more education so that they can prepare for that career, we need to give them some support. So I want for you, if you can, to comment and let me know, how can we help our college students matriculate through college with realistic expectations and coping strategies, and what can we do to make sure students receive appropriate advising while they are in or under our care. All right, so this is Kelly Austin, your e-learning strategist, sounding off. I appreciate you listening to the very end, and I really, really, really would love to hear what you have to say about this topic. Until I get a whim to come on here the next time, you be blessed. Bye bye.